You ready?
I am.
This email is titled, I Just Want to Be Heard. First of all, I want to say thanks for even taking the time out of... Oh my goodness. First of all, I want to say thanks for even taking the time to read my email. It means a lot. I'm not seeking clout or time on your show, but merely seeking comfort and solace. Getting my feelings on screen will be a form of therapy in itself. I'm a 35-year-old male, married to a 35-year-old female who has been one of my reasons for living for the better part of 12 years. We have 4 children, 3 being our own, and 1 from her previous marriage, who is the oldest. Ages ranging 5 to 12. I want to preface before going further, I am genuinely an easygoing, calm, and reserved man who knows when it's time to be respectful and keep my mouth shut in certain situations. But all too often, I find my anxiety and rage have become my new norm. I also do not have an official diagnosis of any kind, but I do believe I have my own issues with depression. I have no outlets or hobbies, and like many others, I work more than I'd like to. I used to game quite a bit, but the joy that would bring me has faded with time, and of course, being a family man of 6, family necessities and other commitments do not exactly allow much time as it is. Okay. I thought he said they had 5 children. And I was like, you said a family of 6. I was like, bro, that's just your kids and your wife. Like, where are you in that? And that's a whole nother discussion in and of itself. Why are you laughing?
I'm just listening.
Okay.
This is a relatively short email, so I'm going to let you get through it, and then we're going to go back and hit bullet points.
Okay. I find myself listening to music a lot, while also doom scrolling TikTok, where I come across numerous videos of your podcast. I wanted to say thank you for giving me some insight, but I remain trapped in my own problems. That anxiety and rage I mentioned before is destroying my sense of self and is beginning to spill into my marriage. What was once a beautiful union has become a daily intake of stress, hurt, and resentment. My wife suffers from a select few mental illnesses, and they are much more prominent than my own. Because of this, I feel I've dedicated my entire marriage and future to helping assuage her fears.
Okay, wait a minute. How much more of this do we actually have? Is this because I thought it was shorter than this?
Like 2 more paragraphs.
All right, let's not skip ahead.
Okay.
Go back up to the top where he talks about the anger rage thing. He said before that he was a very laid back person that knows blah, blah, blah. Let's start there.
I am genuinely an easygoing, calm, and reserved man who knows when it's time to be respectful and keep my mouth shut in certain situations. But all too often, I find my anxiety and rage have become my new norm.
Okay. And the title of this email was Having a Hard Time Being Heard.
I just want to be heard.
So he knows what the problem is.
All right, you want to be heard.
Right. You getting angry and yelling and like being loud is because you don't feel like you're being heard.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, you wouldn't be raising your voice. The idea of somebody being just a laid back kind of person and all of a sudden they're anxious and angry, that's not how that works. You're not a laid back person if you're anxious and angry. You're anxious and angry. You may have at one point been a laid back person, but that's definitely not the case anymore. So something has caused that. So if you're angry and anxious all the time and you feel like you're not being heard, there's the basis of it. You need to find a way to communicate what's going on. And it sounds to me from the first part of the email, that you're not communicating effectively and you're probably just buttoning down and not saying shit because you said you know when to speak and when not to.
Where did your piece go?
Right.
And when did it leave?
And then skip to the next part where he's talking about the hobbies and doom scrolling.
Okay. I have no outlets or hobbies, and like many others, I work more than I'd like to. I used to game quite a bit, but the joy that would bring me has faded with time, and of course, being a family man of 6, family necessities and other commitments do not exactly allow much time as it is.
Okay, we can stop there because then he goes into talking about how he finds himself doom scrolling TikTok, watching a lot of our clips. So this is a real simple thing. Check your screen time. because it'll tell you you've used your phone for 15 hours this week.
I've heard people say 15 hours in a day.
That's insane. That's insane. Like you're connected to a wall at that point because your shit's dying.
Mm-hmm.
This is one of those things that you have to prioritize your time. And if you get 15 extra hours a week, let's be realistic, probably most of the time that's 30 minutes here, an hour there, 45 minutes here, 2 hours there. Like if you're doom scrolling TikTok, your 20 minutes turns into 2 hours real fucking quick.
Mm-hmm.
So prioritize a set day every Wednesday from 8 to 10 o'clock at night. You're off limits. Put your phone on Do Not Disturb, put the kids to bed, and go do something for yourself. Go read a book. Go tinker with something in the garage. Go to the gun range. Go play video games if that's what makes you happy every Wednesday from 8 to 10 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
You not having a hobby and you not having a reason to like exist other than work and taking care of somebody else, you're not living. You're a servant.
Mm-hmm.
That's a fucking problem. It's
It
no
is.
different than the stay-at-home mom that never does self-care.
Mm-hmm.
We need that. Men need that.
Right. And an argument could be made of, well, the kids don't stay in their bed or whatever, right? That's a lack of boundaries. Kids don't come with a manual. Kids do not just become adults and know how to be adults. That could be one of those moments where you explain to the children, like, look, decompression time is a thing. Work is a lot. School is a lot. When you come home and you play, that can be considered your decompression time. It is after bedtime. Your teeth are brushed. We've put you to bed. It is now my decompression time. This is now my playtime. Go back to bed.
Could also lean on your partner.
Yeah.
Like, hey, it's Wednesday. When they get up, just know that you're going to have to handle them until I'm done at 10 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing wrong with men or women setting a schedule for themselves and just taking that time to do something that they enjoy.
Yeah, we literally schedule out our time.
We schedule fucking everything now.
We
We
do.
live on a Google Calendar. It sucks.
I just actually got the kid's stepmom onto the Google Calendar.
Yeah?
We are scheduling everything now.
It's smart.
Yep.
I really... I'm not going to say that because it's just more work for Steve.
I know.
Do you?
I do.
What was I going to say? Fuck it, Steve. You can work.
Do you want me to say it?
Yeah.
That you really want to have like a good relationship.
Damn, woman.
And,
Get out of my fucking head.
and be friends and do the dad thing together.
Wow.
Experience
How
it
did you
together.
get that? How did you get that? How did you can leave all that in, Steve? How did you get that? Like I gave I gave nothing, right? Like
Right. Okay.
real shit. There was nothing there that would have indicated that that's where my head was going. Nothing. Zero. You weren't even talking about him. You were talking about her.
Right.
How did your brain get to that as
I
to
don't
where
know.
I was going?
I just read that like a book. Yeah.
Wild.
I don't know. Popped into my head. Is that what he was talking about?
That's what I was talking about. That's exactly.
No.
Oh,
I mean, like Tyler.
that's
is
your
that what-
discernment. That's
Yeah.
exactly what that is. Yes. That's exactly what that is.
That's
So,
crazy.
it is. It is. It's insane.
Wow.
Yep.
I love you.
I love you more.
Do you?
Mm-hmm. More than yesterday. More than this morning. More than 2 weeks ago. Yep. Don't do it.
Guys, I get to die married to this man. I'm so excited about that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I have chills now. I'm kind of going through it.
Are they multiplying?
Yeah. And I'm losing control. That's what it was. Okay. That's what that long pause was. I'm so sorry, guys.
Oh, man. It's been such a long day.
It has.
All right. Let's get back to the email.
Okay, you're right. Do you want me to just get into the next part of the doom scrolling? Or are we going into the
Let's
anxiety and rage?
skip the Zoom scrolling because we just cleared that.
That anxiety and rage I mentioned before is destroying my sense of self and is beginning to spill into my marriage.
This is where men become a shell of a man. This is where people become a shell of a person.
Mm-hmm.
Because you don't know how to articulate what is going on with inside of you, and you're either too afraid to talk to your partner, because fear is a very real thing for people. So you're either too afraid to talk to your wife, don't know how to talk to your wife, or don't think that anything will come of it, so you're choosing not to.
Right.
Because this is a conversation that should be had during a check-in. Mm-hmm. This is the way that I'm feeling. And maybe you can't figure out why you're feeling that way, but that's where the conversation starts. I don't know what's going on with me lately, but I'm fucking angry all the time. And they're going to go, well, what's going on? And you're going to go, I don't know. But then you guys are going to start having a conversation. Eventually, those floodgates are going to open. Mm. But that's only if you are truly safe and talking to your person. Because if you think that you're going to be judged, or that there's going to be conflict, or that there's not going to be a true self of resolution, true sense of resolution, you're just going to bottle it up, because that's what we do. It's not fucking healthy.
That sounds very miserable, very sad.
Yep, and most men feel that way all the fucking time. It's not success. You're not going to win your marriage. Like, you're not going to win at life. You're going to fail at almost everything if you cannot communicate. You have to be able to talk to them. Do the check-ins. Mm-hmm. Start the check-ins. Give yourselves a safe time frame, once or twice a month, to sit down, or 3 times a month, or once a week even, to have conversations where you can do a little bit. Mm-hmm. Just a little bit. And eventually you'll find yourselves talking all the fucking time, and it won't feel like a thing. But you have to teach yourselves how to talk to each other again. In the beginning, you shared everything.
Yeah. And there was no judgment. There was no poor reaction because you wanted to be supportive.
Right.
Yeah. That anxiety and rage I mentioned before is destroying my sense of self and is beginning to spill into my marriage. What was once a beautiful union has become a daily intake of stress, hurt, and resentment. I hope the resentment has gone into a little bit further. My wife suffers from a select few mental illnesses, and they are much more prominent than my own. Because of this, I feel I've dedicated my entire marriage and future to helping assuage her fears and concerns while neglecting my own. I don't want to say I resent her for this, but part of me is struggling with the concept that my problems will always be trivial in comparison, and in turn, no guidance or help will ever be received from me.
So there's the problem. Across the board, there's the problem.
Can I say something before you go into that? Will you remember? Okay. So, you've dedicated your entire marriage and future to helping her fears and her concerns while neglecting your own. So you showed her in reality, so internally you neglected it. Externally, because you were so focused on her, could there have been moments where she tried to care for you and you're like, no, you're going through it, I'm fine. Like you said prior, you teach people how to handle you.
Yep.
So if it was never a big deal, it's never a big deal.
I'm willing to bet that that's a thing.
Yeah.
For a lot of people.
Because they want to appear strong. Right. I got this.
Or the other side of that devil's advocate is that there could have been times where he started to say something and it got turned into a her thing, and now he feels like he doesn't matter.
Yeah, that could be the thing.
That is a thing for a lot of people too, because women are really good at manipulating situations.
Bringing it back around and making the other person feel bad.
Right. Mm-hmm. There's a lot in that. Him not being able to tell his wife what's actually going on and making it so that he actually does resent her for the fact that she can vent and process and have help in a caring ear, and he can't, is a fucking problem.
It is.
It's a problem. That's a very one-sided relationship. Mm-hmm.
And if that's how it started.
It's not, because that's what he said. It was a beautiful thing in the beginning.
In the beginning.
That's what he said. But somewhere along the lines, things must have shifted.
Okay. So I'm processing a lot. I'm going to read the next line and then get into what I'm going into. He says, which is why I feel so muzzled. There are always bigger problems to deal with. So if it was beautiful in the beginning, you guys got married, like I said prior, where did your peace go? So was there like I said prior, the nonchalant, like I'm fine, don't worry about it. I can deal with my own things. And you really focused on her because you wanted her to feel safe around you and protected and like you were doing the man thing. And then after a few years, you really started to recognize, oh man, like as you clearly feel, you feel muzzled. I would be asking myself, did I put myself in this position? Because I always downplayed it. So that would be something to ask her, like, hey, babe, like, do you ever feel like I ever need emotional help? Do you ever feel the need to come and comfort me? Because I am asking for that. If I am not asking for that properly from you, I need you to tell me how I can communicate to you because I'm fucking going through it. Onto your flip end of things when you did the devil's advocate, if it was always brought back around and it was her problem is now the big problem and washed off to the wayside, you still asked her to marry you. It's a lot for me to process. Do you have anything you need to say?
Can you read the last line again?
Which is why I feel so muzzled. There are always bigger problems to deal with.
I had something before that, and now it doesn't feel relevant at all. So here's what I'm going to say.
Well, I can read the other sentence.
Nope, okay. I don't care because this is more important.
Okay.
This comes to your trauma matters, right? Like what you're going through, no matter how big or small it is, matters, or
right.
You wouldn't be going through it. Mm-hmm. So to downplay your suffering because somebody else might be going through it more doesn't negate the fact that you're fucking suffering right now.
Right. And if the person leads you to feel that way, like what you're going through is absolutely nothing compared to what I'm going through and what I've been going through, unacceptable.
They don't care about you.
Abysmal. That's not how you treat a human being, especially the person that you want to call your spouse.
Right. That scenario is bullshit. Mm-hmm. And that needs to be a conversation. You need to be like, look, I understand that you have mental illness because he said it. I understand that you have mental illness and I understand that you're going through things and you're suffering right now, but this has been going on for weeks and I have been bottling a lot of shit up and I don't have an outlet. And I don't have anyone to talk to because you're my wife. You're supposed to be my teammate, my helper. Mm-hmm. We're supposed to be going through the struggle together. And while you're struggling, I am fucking suffering.
With you, I have no one. Without you.
Pushing it all down and bottling it all up and not letting it out. And because I can't talk to you, I have no one else to talk to. So my option is to either go to a therapist or find somebody that I can talk to. And how does that end up? Because you're fucking miserable in your marriage. You don't have anyone to talk to. You're going to find somebody outside of your marriage, somebody normally of the opposite sex because men don't like talking to other men about their problems. Mm-hmm. They're going to start divulging what's going on. They're going to feel that release. There's going to be an emotional connection. It's going to lead to emotional cheating and then physical cheating. And it's all going to come down to, well, I can't believe we got to this. How did we get to this? Because you can't fucking talk to each other. End rant.
That was beautiful. You look really hot with that scratch on your leg when you went down on the dirt bike. Badass.
You should probably stop smoking.
I'm actually not that stoned. I'm just maintaining.
Yeah? As you were there gagging.
I have mucus in my throat. Phlegm. Ooh, I hate that word. Phlegm. Phlebotomy.
Phlegm.
Muzzled is such a word to use to describe what he's feeling right now. I see a muzzled dog and I feel bad for that dog. Probably for a reason, right? Like maybe he's not good around people or he attacks small children because they look like rodents or something. But I feel bad because that restricts that dog's freedom.
Prevents it from biting, not barking, though.
Yeah.
I understand
what he. Feel bad.
I was understanding what he was getting at with what he said.
Yeah.
But
when we did research on narcissism, didn't it say specifically that the downplaying of other things can indicate a higher scale scoring on the narcissism charts?
What do you mean? Like from the other person?
Right.
Yes.
Like, because that's a selfish thing.
Right.
To say, I understand that you're depressed because your grandmother died, but both of my grandmothers have died. So I'm really going through it right now.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's more of a just a selfishness thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. Though even having discussions about narcissists and narcissistic tendencies and narcissistic disorder, narcissistic behavioral disorder, whatever it's called,
Right.
makes me uncomfortable anyways, because it's such an overused term and most people have no idea what it would be like to actually deal with a narcissist.
Right.
So yes, being selfish to an extent is narcissistic, but it's not.
By itself, it's not the only thing that contributes to
Right.
narcissistic personality disorder.
Right. Personality disorder. That's what I was looking for, not behavior disorder.
Yeah. I'm sorry I brought that up. The conversation is heavy on my mind because of the conversations yesterday.
Yeah.
A lot's happened.
Yeah, it's been we've recorded. This is our 5th episode in 24 hours.
Yeah.
So
It is. Oh my goodness.
doing the thing. We got one more.
6, actually. Because we did
you're right.
3.
We did 3 and 5. So this is number 6. We'll have 7 by the time we're done. Yep.
Back into the email. I feel as if I'm screaming, and regardless of who hears me, my pleas will be ignored. I just want to be heard. I need to know someone wants me out of this dark place of sadness. I feel alone in that regard. I do not want to take out my frustration on my family. I feel every little event causes me to boil over from sheer inconvenience or lack of consideration for how they're asking will affect me. The worst part is I'm aware that what they are asking me is reasonable. I'm just being genuinely difficult as I do not have a valid reason for being so upset about it. Children will start acting out when they feel they have no control in their life. If they are told every single day, you're going to wake up, you're going to go to ROTC, then you have school, and then when you get off from school, you're going to have to help with the family business, and then you're practicing the violin, and then you're working on algebra before bed. That's going to be your life. Those are the kinds of children who actually get out into life. Not all of them, but some of them will experience like drug abuse or fall into alcoholism because their whole life they have not been able to be their own person. So I can understand why even just having somebody ask you a question, you feel like you don't matter. Why come to me for the answers when I can't even ask you anything?
The idea of he just did it to himself, though. He just did it to himself.
Elaborate.
That last line said, read the last line again.
I'm just being genuinely difficult as I do not have a valid reason for being so upset about it.
So there you go. This is why your life is happening the way that your life is happening.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're downplaying your issues by saying, I don't have a valid reason to be upset. So are you just being upset to be a child, or are you actually being bothered by things and now you're downplaying the fact that you're bothered by them because you don't want to be a burden to somebody? Because here's what's happening. Mm-hmm. When people are always depressive, right? And they're always miserable or they're always angry and they're not fun to be around, eventually people start to distance themselves. Now you're going to isolate because people don't want to fucking be around you because of the way that you've been behaving. It's not up to your family to pull you out of a dark mind space.
Right.
That is a decision that falls solely on your shoulders. It is your responsibility to make sure that you are taking care of yourself first and foremost. Because if you can't take care of you, you damn sure can't take care of your wife and kids. So now you're a depressive, miserable mess who downplays his own bullshit because he's afraid to talk to somebody and then wonders why no one will listen to him.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest. If your behavior was, I ask you a question, you lash out at me, I'm like, hey babe, what's going on?
Nothing. Don't worry about it. It's not a big deal.
Okay. Now I'm not going to ask you what's wrong anymore. And now I'm actually going to start getting defensive because clearly there's something wrong and you either aren't willing to talk to me about it. You feel you can't talk to me about it. I might get kind of shitty.
Right.
In return, me not being Peaches.
I think even being Peaches, you would. That's a normal reaction because you know something's going on.
Right, but
and
I
you're trying to help and let me stick my hand out to pull you out of this hole that you're in, only for you to smack my fucking hand.
Right, that would happen once.
Right.
And then
Fuck you.
Then it would be a
Stay in your
conversation
hole.
of
Everybody would feel that way.
right, but I wouldn't Like, it wouldn't be a prolonged, like, we're not living like this for years.
Right. Well, most normal, sane people wouldn't. But when this becomes a normal thing, you're going to be like, here's your dinner and your whole, I'm going to go and enjoy my life. You fucking stay in there because you're miserable and nobody wants to be around you.
Right, but that's not what she's doing. Sounds like they're just in a cycle of fucking frenzy and 4 children. It's a lot. It's crazy how much of a little window we get.
Right. Because there's no context.
Yeah. I want to know how y'all are talking to each other. How did she react when you tried to bring up your feelings? How did you react when she responded to your feelings? Did you feel invalidated? Did you feel as if she were trying to logic brain when you just wanted her to listen? And that's a big thing people don't realize that's happening. If you are going to someone and you just want to vent and they try to logic brain you and you don't understand why you're getting frustrated because you're talking about your feelings. I go through this sometimes. It's because I didn't preface with, hey, babe, I'm just venting.
Yeah.
Where like, I'll start talking to you and you're giving me solutions and I'm like, no. Just cry with me for a minute. And then I have to reel myself and I'm like, hey, he's helping you. He's your husband. He's doing the thing. And that's when I tell you, babe, thank you.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going through it. I appreciate you problem solving. And I give myself a stern talking to on the inside.
I should have started with, I just need to vent.
I know.
Should have started with, I just need to vent.
And then there's times where I interject and I'm like, hey, babe, like, you don't have to get frustrated with trying to figure this out. I'm just venting.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And then you go back to doing what you're doing and you listen and calm waters again.
Everything, the way that this email is laid out, though, the reason I asked for this was so that we could point out the hypocrisy in it.
Yeah.
Because you're not being forthcoming. You're not being open. You're not communicating with us. You're sending an email asking for help, but you're not giving us the details to actually help you. This is a cry for help, though. This email is a cry for help.
Yeah.
And the way you're going to get that is by fucking talking to your people.
You want to get back into it?
Yes.
Okay. What can I do? I find myself apologizing for my behavior more and more these days, but to no avail.
Change your behavior.
Change the behavior, right.
Apologies mean nothing.
Yeah, tell the kids all the time, sorry is not enough. You saying I'm sorry right now is not enough for me. Quit doing what you're doing. Change the behavior, and then we can have a conversation about how I can forgive you for what you have continuously. Pattern-gorically is not a word.
No, it's not.
Chronologically?
That's in order. From oldest to newest.
If we just had a conversation 5 minutes ago and you do the same thing that I just had a conversation with you about 5 minutes ago, it's still a problem. You are the problem right now, child. That's what I mean.
There's going to be a time where somebody actually gets hurt.
Yeah.
And they're going to apologize, and that's going to be the learning lesson.
Yeah.
That lump on your sister's head, when you say sorry, does it go away?
Mm-hmm.
What's gonna change that is in the future you being more careful.
Yeah.
Right. We'll get there one day. They'll get those lessons. It'll happen.
Oh, yeah. Back into the email. My wife and I are suffering for it. There is no intimacy, no affection, and generally our existence to one another is bordering roommates.
It's because you guys don't like each other anymore.
Yeah. I feel as if I can get myself back in check. The rest of the pieces will inevitably fall back into place. Almost like opening the floodgates, so to speak.
It doesn't work that way. Just getting yourself back in check is not going to fix everything.
Right.
If you can magically fix your depression, all of the issues that's causing it is not going to just magically go away. You need to have a communication. You need to sit down and have a check-in. Talk to your person. Mm-hmm. Let them understand why you are feeling the way that you're feeling. And maybe when you're done, they can reciprocate that. It's the whole point of a check-in. They can tell you why they're feeling the way that they're feeling, and you guys can figure your shit out. But if the talking doesn't happen and this magically clears up, it's going to repeat itself.
Yes, it's a cycle. Almost subconsciously, I cannot allow myself to get close to her anymore until I fix myself, as I'm worried about the emotions I feel.
It's called self-sabotage.
The disconnection I'm dealing with will cause her to leave me.
She's going to leave you anyways if you don't get your shit together.
Yeah. I would rather you come to me and say, I can't imagine that every person would be scared if they were feeling this way. I would be terrified. Like, I have a family. This is my wife. I loved her at one point. I'm feeling this massive disconnect. I don't know if I want to be here anymore. I hate myself. I hate my life. I would be absolutely terrified feeling that way. I would lay all of that out. I would say, look, I'm absolutely terrified. I don't know what's going on with my head. I don't feel like anybody hears me. And I know that I don't open myself up, and I know that I don't talk about my feelings. I feel like I can't. And I don't know why I don't know why I don't feel like I can. Maybe it's because you have mental illnesses and I'm worried about becoming a burden in your life because you're already focusing on so much shit plus the kids. I'm supposed to be the person that you can come to and talk about your things, not vice versa. That's wrong. You guys need to be able to lean on each other, but if that's how you feel, that's what you need to say.
Yep.
Word vomit.
And don't do it with aggression.
Don't.
Do it from a place that I need help, not a place of fuck you. Because there's a difference.
If you miss your wife, tell her you miss her.
Yep.
And don't just say, I miss you. Say, I miss my wife. You want to continue reading?
Yes.
Call it fear or cowardice. I am unsure, but that cross is mine to bear. I love her dearly and will do anything to be in her good graces again.
Except for change. Except for talk to her.
Communicate.
Right. So you're not willing to do anything.
Mm-hmm.
This is one of those lines that are you meatloaf? I'll do anything, but I won't do that.
What is it he wouldn't do?
That.
What's that?
Butt stuff. I don't know. I don't remember the song.
Huh. I mean, that would make sense. A solid boundary. I understand.
Shitty jokes.
The only thing that would make this like a top tier moment, I mean, it's already pretty good, is if it ended with a fart.
I got nothing.
I got nothing either.
And after the stomach issues that I've had today, I'd be afraid to try. So.
I can do like a... I was pretty impressed by that. And me not being able to... I feel kind of inferior right now.
I'll teach you how to fart with your armpit and show them up.
Can you really do that? I've never been able to do that.
It's not hard.
Oh, my sister was always able to do that. I was so jealous.
I can do it without moving my arm.
Do you like... It's like... Huh?
It's a cup thing. You just cup your hand and figure out how to get the pressure and be like... Burnt. Yep. Stupid shit. Things that boys do.
That makes me
Spitting contest and farting with your armpit.
That's amazing.
First time I learned that. Anyways, so stupid. You just picture a little Chris running around going constantly. Yep.
I see it. I don't know why, but I'm picturing you in overalls with no t-shirt.
Just me with the anytime I obsess over anything, that was me with farting with my armpit for months.
For months.
It was bad.
That's amazing.
Yep.
Fantastic. Thank you for sharing that.
So stupid.
It made me so happy. Back into the email.
Yes.
She is, however, feeling the burn of my poor attitude and does not feel like I am a safe space for her at times because of it. She is my forever, and if I could, I would rewrite history to make it better for her. But for now, I'll have to settle on improving myself.
Well, cool. We've given you tools to do that.
You can't rewrite her past, but you are her future, bro. Like,
could be her future.
I mean, yeah, if you change
You
things.
won't be if you don't get your shit together.
Yeah. I'm not worried about changing your past. I'm worried about making your future happy.
I'm worried about right now. I want you to be happy today. And tomorrow when we wake up, we'll worry about tomorrow. We worry about right now. If I do some shit that's really fucked up and it pisses you off and we have a huge falling out over it, I will do whatever I can to make sure that we don't repeat that. So that tomorrow we're not living in today if we have a bad day today. Being happy and having a dope future comes one day at a time, and you do that in the moment. You don't do that 6 months from now. You don't do it a year from now. You do it today. What?
What do you mean, what? You love me and it's overwhelming sometimes. In a good way. This is stupid. You make my soul horny. Like,
That's funny.
starts vibrating really fast and it gets super excited. And you're like, yes. Well, it's like, yes. Like, that's my other half. I'm stoked that we found each other. I don't think. Oh, God, he fucking winked. You know, Men in Black when they're like, ching.
Yeah. Is that the wink?
The fuck was I saying? Where was I going with that?
There was a gas leak. That's funny. Was that the end of the email?
No, I'm thinking. Okay, back into the Even if you have no advice how to help me reconnect and calm my internal voice, I appreciate you allowing me to write to you guys. It has helped calm me in the moment. And that's it.
You got a lot of work to do. A lot of work to do, dude.
And a lot of mending to do with your wife.
Yep.
I bet right now, however she wishes for things, praying, talking to the universe, putting energy out, she wants you to talk to her. She wants you to come to her. Even if she's super salty and super bitchy and is holding on to things, deep down, she wants what you guys had the same way that you do.
Yep.
It'll never be the same.
Unless it's too late.
It could be too late.
And I'm hoping that that's not the case, but I said that only to reinstill in you that if you want things to change, you have to be the one to change them, and you need to do it before it's too late.
Hey guys, if you enjoyed that, found it entertaining, funny, or even learned something you didn't know before, share it. And if you're not subscribed, why aren't you? And for those of you who want to support us, get access to exclusive content and live streams, we do have a Patreon. All the links are in the description.